But we can get confirmation of that here. But it means that we know there's definitely at least one in the form of Andre playing the Dole stall, but maybe a second one. We can just get confirmation of that now.
Sure. So as we look over, we know that Robin is on the left. He's playing that Abilities Art deck, very aggressive, very fast. Matthew is playing Mewtwo with Mew. It's that Perfection deck, and he also likes to work very quickly. So
sure does.
Should be fireworks here for us in the top 8.
Yeah, and here we do see Robin's accomplishments. An extremely decorated player, a former world champion, two top 16s at previous LAIC, as well as a top 8 at the recent Sheffield Regionals. One of the best players in Europe, hands down, but probably even one of the best players in the entire world. Literally, at one point, the best player in the entire world if you go by world champion status.
Yeah, he definitely has a pretty great set of accomplishments for himself, and he's looking to expand on that. You're always looking to, when you're coming in all the way to Brazil, to add on to all these records that you have. He's trying to become an international champion today, or on tomorrow.
Thinking about it, if he's won national championships in the past, which I think he probably will have done because he's played a lot in seniors as well, but when national championship was a thing,
sure,
he might be able to recreate the accomplishment of winning one of each tournament type.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So the full range. Meanwhile, on the Matthew Burris' side, oh, wow, okay, I have to take back what I said before. So he's clearly a recently aged up senior, and look at those accomplishments, actually.
Yeah, very cool. He's actually done fairly well in the current year with a few special event top 8 and top 16s.
Yeah, in New Zealand and in Melbourne, as well as a top 4 at the OCIC as a senior. So, yeah, not bad at all. Very impressive. And perhaps we're not giving him enough credit. Not quite the underdog that perhaps we might have thought.
Yeah, well, we like to talk about all of the seniors and how they've done moving into the Masters side on North America, but we should be looking at Australia as well.
Yeah, we sure should be doing. But in any case, we are off, everyone. Round the top 8 first game we have here on stream. Robin looks like he will be going first, starting off with a card which we can't quite see. And it looks like, oh, he started off with a Cherish Ball. Grabbing that Reshiram and Charizard GX straight away, having a look through to see what he has access to. Of course, can't forget you can see the timer there at the top of the screen, 75 minutes. So when we get to the top 8, then we have longer for these players to play out their matches.
Wow. Okay, so looking over, Robin has priced 4 energies of his 18, which is pretty important if he's trying to get the math for his Victini to knock out a big tag team Pokemon later in the game. Yeah, could be a little difficult.
Yeah, that's very true. At the same time, because you do play so many, if you do end up prizing 4, it means that you can just fish them out when you take knockouts quite early on. So it should still be relatively okay for him.
Right. And over on Matthew's side, we did see, I believe that was Latios GX in the prize card, so Tag Purge will not be available. If Matthew's able to get through this Turtonator and we're able to find that, we could see Tag Purge be pretty relevant.
Tag Purge is extremely strong. Now, Robin, for what it's worth, has a Giant Half, puts that down, and after that just goes for the Dead End GX, discarding the rest of his hand. Wonder wants to find a welder here, but it looks like he has missed. Oh dear.
Yep, no switching effect either, so that communication for Jirachi is not going to be the best play for him now. Probably just going to eye up maybe a way to grab Vulpix, but he doesn't want to lose that Dedenne either, so pretty interesting spot here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that Ninetales isn't doing anything right now, so yeah, he's going to wait a turn just to see what he does draw before going for the communication, but I imagine next turn he'll just communication for the Vulpix and then go for the Dede change again.
Sure.
Now, well, how can Matthew respond here? We do see he does start off with a tag call. We should get up his deck list here for you guys, just so that we can sort of talk through the list and sort of get a better idea of just how his deck has been constructed and what options he has access to. Looks like it's not too many crazy surprises here in this, other than we do see the inclusion of the Charizard and Braixen GX and the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff GX, the 2 usual extra inclusions from Mewtwo Mew deck, but one thing I actually do want to draw attention to, which is quite interesting, he's only playing 2 Dedenne GX.
Yeah, and it looks like he made space for double Guzma and Hala, along with double Mallow and Lana. So I was expecting different matchups coming into this. Maybe wanted to play a little slower approach of a deck, and we'll see how that works for him here. He was able to get all the way to the top 8, but I feel like 2 Dedenne is not a lot of Pokemon.
No, not a lot of draw options. And actually, okay, even more interestingly, he is not playing Makago GX.
Okay.
This has been a usual mainstay in Mewtwo and Mew decks, just for the ability to Lava Flow for a bunch of damage and KO. But I think the reason why he's done this, his energy line is basic fires, 3 rainbows, and 1 weakness guard energy.
I remember seeing him playing at one of the top tables then, because I was very curious with the rainbow energies. Yes,
Yeah.
that's it's pretty interesting inclusion.
But I mean, also with the 2 Guzma and Hala, it makes sense, right? Because you can just search it out that easily. And again, that also means it makes sense that he's not playing Makaga, because of course you can't discard Rainbow with the Makaga's attack.
Right.
So he's just relying on his other options to take the big knockouts instead.
Yeah, we had seen this variant at the World Championships when we first saw the Mewtwo deck. We thought that a lot of the players were going to be focusing more on the Rainbow so that they could have access to different attacks. And then it kind of standardized into this basic energy style, and was mainly using fire and psychic energy. But of course, Tord flipped that on its head by add weakness guard energy and the water energy.
Yeah, sure is. So, it looks like something else that's important to mention is Matthew is playing a heavy Jirachi line. Looks like he's got 2 of them down the bench right now, and he's playing the full complement of 4. So that's what he's done with the extra space, essentially.
Fair enough. I like it. The Jirachi is a great engine to go and find your welders, and he also has all these other supporter cards that can help him out when he does not hit the welder on that opening turn. But looks like he does have welder, but only 1 fire energy to go along with it.
Yeah, it's not really ideal. I mean, in all fairness, it's not the end of the world if you miss welder turn 1 in some variants of Mewtwo. Obviously, you'd like to do it, but it seems like, especially in Matthew's variant, because he has so many, you can go for a Guzman Hala turn 1 instead, for example, and just grab himself everything he needs for the turn after, just, get a giant half, a stealthy hood, and if he needs it, and then, grab the rainbow. He has options for sure.
Yeah. You can definitely start to thin through his deck as well. That's one benefit of cards like these. You can search for all sorts of cards, and of course, that Giant Hearth even lets you search for a few more cards.
So loading up this Mewtwo here. He's only 1 energy away from being able to copy that Breakson and Charizard GX's attack. Of course, extremely powerful. Does 180 damage, and then for 4 energy, and then lets you search for any free cards from your deck.
Yeah, and that can be pretty helpful, especially when you're playing a welder deck. If you can put welders in your hand whenever you want, I think that's pretty okay.
Yeah, I think so as well. Meanwhile, we do see, as we discussed the turn previously, Pokemon communication from Robin, putting the Ninetales back into the deck and just grabbing himself a Jirachi, wanting to have that extra sort of trainer dig to lean on as he progresses further into this game.
Yep. Something interesting to note is that Stealthy Hood's interaction with Ninetales is actually something that could be pretty relevant. So we could see that Charizard and Breakstein not be brought up into the active spot throughout the remainder of this game now.
Yeah, which is pretty good, because it means that it takes perhaps an easier tag team knockout off of the options that Robin can access. Of course, the Stealthy Hood just specifically prevents effective abilities essentially being done to the Pokemon it's attached to.
Sure.
And now Robin benches the Jirachi. He's got a Fire Energy in hand, and he's deciding where to commit it. Does decide to put it on the Turtonator, and he's got another communication, but that's no good to him, so just a Dead-Eye change from Robin.
Yeah, he hasn't been able to put the right cards together. Would really love to see a welder here.
Oh no, he misses again!
Does have a switch card, so can bring up that Jirachi. Also has Cherish Ball if he wants to thin down 1 more card.
Yeah, and he's got this skateboard too, so he can actually end a switch, so he can do quite a bit of digging here, depending on what he sees off the Stellar Wish.
And a Giant Hearth. He can do quite a few things here.
Yeah, I think he just has to decide what the right order to do them in is. So
right.
He goes the Giant Hearth first, discarding a fire, grabbing 2 more from the deck. Of course, he wants to, try and load up his discard pile with as many fires as possible to maybe take a big knockout with Victini later. He won't necessarily do it the first few attacks because, like we've already mentioned, he has 4 fire energy in the prizes, but that's something that he definitely wants to keep preparing regardless.
All right, this is definitely going to be a big Stellar Wish. Also could be using that Cherish Ball first, who knows. Yeah, he's going to go ahead.
Yeah, decides not to, maybe thinking there's nothing else he wants to grab it enough to make it worthwhile. And he does find, welder.
There we go.
That's the dream. That's exactly what he wants to see. So now you can attach 2 of those fire energies and draw 3 cards. That's exactly what he wanted to find.
Yeah, that's certainly pretty great for him. It's going to be interesting to see where he chooses to place these energies. Of course, he could start to load up his Turtonator, but it's unlikely that Turtonator is going to get off a relevant attack this turn. So if you place those there, maybe you get yourself lined up to be sniped by a Naganadel. So Maybe he's just going to start loading up his Reshiram Charizard even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bulkiest thing he has out right now. And yeah, oh no, it looks like he's just going to go for the Turtonator.
Yeah, it's tricky because you don't want to commit everything to your Reshiram Charizard and then get knocked out by 300 damage Charizard GX attack. So
yeah, that could be pretty brutal. It looks like he's drawn a Fire Engine and a couple of Vulpix off of this Welder. That's not too bad. He can put one of the Vulpixes down now. That means he'll be able to give himself access to a Ninetales later on. Of course, that nine Temptations ability will be very important for him to close out the game later on.
Certainly. This does take away the bench spot for him, so he is pretty reliant on Matthew taking a knockout this turn to really continue going. He wants to find one more Dedenne and really push through his deck one last time.
Yeah, and he is massively baiting Matthew here by putting this Dedenne active. He knows that he really wants this to be knocked out, and it's not like Matthew is not going to do it as well. He needs the prize cards. But
yeah, Sacrificial Rat can work. This is fine.
Yeah, there is a Cherish Ball from Matthew. He's going to look through, probably going to grab a Dedenne of his own so that he can dig further. Or no, actually just going to go grab a second Mewtwo and Mew GX.
Fair enough. Curious to see if Matthew decides to use his Charizard and Braixion's attack, or if he's going to go for something even bigger here.
Well, he has got the switch, and to be fair,
spice things up. Oh, yeah, excuse me. He's got that Guzman Hollow, so he could use that and grab the Rainbow, and then he has the switch. But I don't know if he has the Naganadel available to him.
No, I think he's just discarded Guzman and Hala for the effect of Giant Half.
Yeah.
That's kind of what the body language tells me. And yeah, so going to get 2 Fire Energy to his hand. Probably just thinking to himself he wants to get the second Mewtwo and Mew ready, knowing that the first one is likely to be knocked out next turn.
Right. Well, now this opens up some plays. Matthew can either go after prize cards if he does find a great catcher, if he does find a Rainbow Energy and that Naganadel, he has that pretty sweet snipe on the Turtonator, or he just takes the rat, reluctantly takes 3 great cards from his deck.
Yeah. He's got the switch ready to go as well, so he can switch into either directly into the Mewtwo, or if he feels confident about it, can go into one of the Jirachis. But no, decides to go for the Welder first, just attaching 2 fires to the other Mewtwo.
Ah, okay. So as he just chooses to do this, we know he has another fire in hand. He also has Great Catcher in hand. So if Charizard is in the discard pile, he could be going after 3 prize cards right now.
Yeah. Did we see him discard it earlier? I'm actually not sure now.
Yeah, I have such a difficult time keeping up with the discard piles.
Yeah. Oh, he is going for it though. This kind of tells me he must have it in discard, surely.
Looks like it.
Yeah, so there's the switch, and if we see a GX marker being flipped, then we know what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you just come up and hit him for 180 here. I think you're going for a knockout.
And yeah, I guess there it is. Got discarded earlier. Flare Blitz GX, 3 prizes for Matthew. Wow.
It's a big play, and the only real answer that Robin would have is Welder, 3 energies, and either removing all of them with his Turtonator or bringing up a Heatran and blowing up this Mewtwo as well. Both plays are pretty hard to pull off, honestly, if you don't use a Dedenne, and Dedenne means you can't do Heatran.
Yeah. To me, it's just pretty incredible how this Charizard GX from Hidden Fates, so unseeming at first. It's just such a simple Pokemon. Literally, both its attacks don't have any effects. It's just either 140 for 2 fire and 2 colorless, or 300 on a GX for 2 fire and 2 colorless. But it turns out doing 300 damage is pretty good.
Yeah, when it first came out and we read, 4 energies, 300? What's the effect? I lose all my energies? What happens? He's like, no, it's just, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, that's really good. And then you read, oh, it's a stage 2, that's a shame. But then you realize, wait. Mewtwo could copy that. And it's a whole new game of Pokemon.
Yep, becomes one of the best cards in the format just because it can be thrown away.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, and we can see here that it's one of the main reasons why Mewtwo has been able to stand up so readily to other tag team decks, just because it has access to such an easy, literal Flare Blitz attack to knock out a tag team with only 1 Welder. But here's the Stellar Wish.
Big Welder potential here.
Oh,
does find it.
So that's very important. This is what will enable Robin to make a counterattack here and knock out this Mewtwo.
Yep, and he did choose to already grab the Dedenne with the Cherish Ball, so likely not going after any Heatran shenanigans.
Yeah, it would certainly seem that way. There was a Giant Half being played as well, discarding the second Vulpix, feeling like he doesn't need it, and 1 will be enough to see him through the game as long as he can find his Ninetales. 2 Fire Energy being pulled from the deck, which means that I believe he has 3 Fire Energy in hand now. Which is important because obviously he'll need that many to take the KO with his Turtonator.
Surely. Yep, a lot of Fire Energies will be hitting the discard pile on this turn.
And the Welder. 3 cards drawn, and this will also set him up really nicely to finish off the game with an Infinity.
Oh, he found the Pal Pad as well. That's a really great addition. He can put 2 Welders back into his deck now.
It's so strong, and he's got 2 Fire Energy Red to go in hand as well, so actually Robin has made the exact sort of counterplay he needs to make in order to, sort of hit back after being knocked out so easily by Matthew's Mewtwo and Mew.
Right.
So Power Padding 2 Welders back into the deck just to give him those extra outs to make sure that he can find a Welder for next turn to put onto the Victini to seal the game. And yeah, just doing some quick math stuff. He's already preparing himself. He's thinking, okay.
He also knows he has probably a lot of energy prize. He has 4 energy prize from what I remember. I think he's counting. He's at 11, so 13 with the energies that are in hand. He has 1 energy left in deck then.
Yeah, and this could be a little bit of an issue if he goes for... Oh, no, he knows.
Yeah, he has 1 energy.
Yeah.
There's he's banking on hitting some energies from his prize cards, which surely he will.
Yeah, it's a statistical likelihood.
Has to. Yeah, it is 4. He has to hit 1 at least.
Yeah, he's literally guaranteed to hit at least 1. So that's very clever maths there from Robin, working out the exact probabilities and manipulating that in the right ways to make sure that he can set up the KO for next turn. There's the Turtonator's attack, 6 energy again, discarded 300 damage, explosive jet for the knockout.
And he found 3 of them. That has to feel pretty great, honestly. He ran into all of them.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
Yep.
And now it's going to be up to Matthew to see how he can respond here. But the biggest problem is there's no way he wins the game this turn because there's no free prizes available on Robin's field.
And, I mean, wisely by Robin, he did have that Mega Low Punny Jigglypuff. There's no way he's going to put it onto the board here.
No. Literally, the only way Matthew maybe could have won this turn is if there were somehow enough things on the field that he could do a cross-division GX for 200, but he hasn't got enough energy to do that.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the HP numbers on Robin's side don't even add up for that regardless. Yeah, Matthew's just in really bad shape here.
Well, we'll see what he's able to come up with here.
As a tag call, can find himself maybe a Guzma and Hala, or another Mewtwo and Mew.
So
anything?
With the way that Robin's energies work out, he could potentially be able to knock out any tag team Pokemon with that Victini if he's able to get the energies from hand into the discard pile.
Yeah, and he has so many different ways to do it as well. I mean, how many energy are we in there right now? I know it's some obscene amount.
Yeah, I believe he's at 13, and he's holding 4 more energies.
Right, okay.
So if he can get, I mean, he's already hitting for 260, so 1 more in there is enough to take out this Mewtwo.
So,
and that would just be a retreat, honestly. He'd be very easy to hit if he has Welder and Victini.
Yeah.
I think he would lock up if a Mewtwo were in the active spot.
Welders the Victini, pay retreat on a 1 retreater, and bam, that'll do.
Right.
Looks like Matthew's just going to go for the Great Catcher onto the Dedenne, then use a Cherish Ball to find a Dedenne of his own, and probably just go for a Dede change.
Yep. Does Matthew have access to Reset Stamp? Because if he could find one of those, I feel like he could put himself in a pretty decent spot.
That would be the way he makes a comeback here. Yes, he does. He plays 2 copies in his deck, so that's without a doubt what he's digging for with this Dedenne GX.
Yep, and he's going to even choose to go with this Dedenne instead of another Mewtwo. This Mewtwo's going the rest of the game. Looking for that Reset Stamp now. If he were able to find it, he could put himself in a decent spot to have this Mewtwo survive 1 more turn.
Yeah, and he does not find it.
Does find Acro Bike.
He's got 1 more chance. 1, 2. No, he misses again. He's got another Acro Bike. He gets it.
Oh, wow. He did have a skateboard plus switch, so there were outs with Jirachi, but feels good to not have to use all of those resources just now. Reset Stamp is coming down onto the board here.
And this is one of the benefits of something else which we didn't mention about Matthew Burris' list. He's playing 4 Acro Bike, so he's got consistency for days, essentially.
Yeah. Who needs Dedenne if you can just draw through with all these bicycles?
Bicycles. Well, it's like, Dedenne's good enough, but you know what's even better? Dedenne with Jirachi and Acro Bikes.
On a bicycle.
Yeah. And thinking about it as well, he's probably built the list this way on the basis of not wanting to play into Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. If you can, especially with the Jirachis already in play, that's one way that you can continually search out through your deck. So if he can limit himself to a few GX Pokemon, then he's certainly in a great spot.
Yeah, and not only that Reset Stamp seems to have been very effective. Robin currently sitting on a hand of not a massive amount. He's got a Stellar Wish here, but he needs to really find something off of this to let him carry on his plays. Oh, we got a Cherish Ball. He should have one Dedenne left, right?
He has a Welder. He also has a Welder in the prize cards. He could grab this Welder here if he wanted to, but not the Pokemon that he wants these energies on available. So
yeah, that's the issue. And you can see he's agonizing over this. He knows that he's got a very tricky decision here.
Yeah, he chose to not use the Giant Hearth, because if he used that, then finding Dedenne here would have been pretty useless.
Exactly.
He wants to have a few more energies available to himself.
So with that in mind, he does just go for the Cherish Ball, and oh no, maybe he... Okay, yeah, he does have one Dedenne left. I thought he might be all out at this point.
Yeah, so Dedenne along with
Heatran. He's got 2 bench slots, so one Dedenne is fine as long as he can then find the follow-up attacker afterwards, but...
So, if he grabs Mega Lopunny and he switches to his Jirachi, or retreats to his Jirachi, finds Welder, then he can use Jumping Balloon for 300.
Oh, yes, that works too.
So he could use the Giant Hearth here, and he's going to do that. He's going to go ahead and grab himself 2 fire energies. He can retreat to his other Jirachi, and then he's going to take a chance here, friends. So
it's all going to come down to whether this second Stellar Wish will find him the Welder that he needs to win. This is the sort of decider of the game, essentially.
This is big. I mean, there's other outs potentially. If he has multiple switch cards, maybe he could find another Cherish Ball into Dedenne, into Wildness, but I think this is it for him.
Yeah. So, retreat from the escape board. Stellar Wish number 2. Does he find a Welder? Drum roll, please.
Oh!
Yeah, he gets it!
Oh! Does find the Welder. That's huge.
That will be the game. Fire Energy, Welder switch, Welder to the active, Jumping Balloon for 300, takes the knockout, and takes game 1.
Wow. That was amazing. That was beautifully spotted by Robin. He was able to get his way all the way through that. He lost a tag team Pokemon on the second turn of the game, and it was on the bench. Like, that has to be so demoralizing for him. And he just continued to battle through, used all of his energies on board to be able to stay in that game. And Matthew wasn't done. He kept finding amazing ways to come back in the game, put more and more pressure, and Robin found the only way out and was able to take the win.
That's super impressive from Robin, showing why he is, a former world champion and again in contention to be a potential international champion, one of the best players in the world, hands down.
Yeah, that has to feel amazing for him in this spot. This is probably one of the biggest games that he's had in the tournament, and that was flawless.
Yeah.
How the way that he worked his way through there.
Yeah, cannot fault him at all there. Huge congratulations to him on that game, but there are still 2 more games left.
Right,
so.
yeah. You can't rest now. This is big. I mean, Matthew showed that he is working with gas. He did not go first that game either. So Matthew going first, if he's able to hit his Welders and start going off, we could definitely go to game 3 pretty quick.
Yeah, Mewtwo and Mew is one of these archetypes that you could just never let catch you sleeping, because if you do, you are going to get punished.
Yep, that's definitely how this works here. Both decks are very aggressive, and honestly, it just comes down to your Welders at the beginning of the game to see how you do, but we also saw that you can work some pretty interesting mid-game plays to keep this game rolling.
Yeah, you very much can. And we saw even with, the list built in a way to mitigate against Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff, that was still what won Robin the game. And oh no, those are some horrible prizes for Matthew there.
The worst one being that Charizard, most likely. That's devastating to not be able to get through that Reshiram and Charizard.
No, that is one of the key cards that has enabled Mewtwo to, usually take a commanding lead against Reshiram and Charizard GX variants, just because you can just get that early KO. Even if you only get like 1 Weld over 2 turns, you can still reach for that 300, but that not being an option for him right now because of the prizing, and Matthew's going to see that now.
Matthew has put 4 Jirachi into his deck so that he would start with it, and he started one of his 2 Dedenne.
Wah, wah.
Is not good.
That's
if he has to Cherish Ball, which likely he will have to, for his Dedenne, he will have no access to Dedenne throughout the rest of this game.
That is not a fun position to be in, and this is the risk you do take. Of course, you mitigate against one risk with the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff by playing less Dedenne, but then if you're in a situation like this, it can come back to bite you.
Yeah, this is terrifying for him. I'm sure he's been in situations like this before with counting Tesla over and over, using all those hours of play, but this is not a situation you would be against a former world champion.
Not in the slightest. So now with that Cherish Ball, it looks like what did he even grab himself?
He grabbed the
Was
I guess he grabbed Solgaleo with
Yeah.
that because he grabbed the Guzman Hala
Yeah.
along with the Mewtwo with the
Yeah.
tag.
I think this is the first time on stream we're actually seeing someone use Guzman Hala for the full discard effect. So of course, discarding the Solgaleo is great because that means he can go for a Turbo Strike, and that's probably going to be quite important. But now with the other effects of Guzman Hala, he can, usually with it you can just grab Stadium, but then if you discard the 2 cards, you can also search your deck for a special energy and a Pokemon tool card.
Well, as Matthew will be taking a welderless turn, I'm going to take a second to update everyone on the standings. So far, Brian is up 1 game against Victor. That is Mewtwo playing against ADP. Mewtwo is up 1 game. Giovanni is up 1 game against Gustavo Wada, and he is playing ADP against that interesting Garchomp, Naganadel, Guzzlord wildness that Gustavo has been playing. And Lucas took a game against Dolls. Blacephalon Naganadel took a game against Dolls.
Yeah, so the reason for that, we've had confirmation here that he plays the Stinger GX, Naganadel GX, so he can force himself into the Baby Blacephalon turn essentially, and he actually has answers because he could just go Stinger, then use B strings and into Reset Stamp and spread.
That was my play. I wanted to do that.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I wanted to be the person in tournament playing that. Oh, yeah. But we are on to Robin's side. So those are the updates so far. So it looks like ADP, Mewtwo, and Mew and Blounds could potentially be visiting whoever wins this round here in the top 4.
Very much so. Now, looks like Robin has started off with a Turtonator, they're getting that from the communication, starting with a Jirachi in the active. Sure, Matthew would have liked to start with that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where Robin wants to be. He didn't feel much pressure from the Mewtwo player. He's getting a nice deck search. I don't think he's going to be surprised by terribly too much from his prize cards. It was more so on Matthew's side that terrified us.
Yeah, which is obviously as soon as Matthew, and he had a look through the deck, so he would have seen that he cannot be very happy about the position he's been put in, because he's now going to have to think of an entirely different game plan to take this an early knockout on something. And if Robin can also spot that, he can just go all in on a Reshiram and Charizard and know that it's relatively safe from being knocked out.
Well, yeah, this is pretty great for Robin. He has a second Jirachi. He also has the Dedenne. Got a Fire Energy in the discard pile. He's going to keep on moving. Doesn't find Welder.
Oh, wait, that's Cherish Ball, Ninetales, and 4 Fire Energy?
Yep.
Oh, no. In fact, didn't he draw that exact same hand the last game?
Yeah, I think it was with a communication, but yeah, it was like instead of the Cherish. But yeah, it was like super, super similar.
Wow. So he's going to get himself the Dead Energy X off of that. And obviously won't be able to use it this turn, but it means that next turn he has something to work with. And of course he still has the Stellar Wish to go as well. He's not used Stellar Wish yet.
Sure. Now in this instance, the ordering does seem correct, as you know your opponent won't be resetting that Dedenne out of your hand.
Well, yeah.
No one cares that much when you have 6 prize cards.
No, exactly. So here's the Stellar Wish. Need to find something useful for this. Finds another Cherish Ball, also a Giant Half. So I imagine probably Cherish Ball seems like the best choice here. You can grab yourself an actual other attacker.
I think that's a miss. He wanted a Welder or a Switch to try again for Welder.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. So now he's kind of stuck not doing much in this turn.
Yep, he can grab Hearth. That kind of benefits his opponent. Doesn't really want to go there with it.
Yeah, so he does indeed just go for the Cherish Ball.
Yep, and now we will see what Robin's game plan is. We know one of those spots is going to be going to Dedenne. If he does choose to go with a GX or tag team Pokemon here in this instance with the Cherish Ball, he wouldn't have the spot for Vulpix, so he's just going to hold on to it.
And here we go. So with the Sweet Sleep Flip, it doesn't end up being a Tails. Probably won't matter too much as long as Robin can find an escape board later on. And there we go, the Rainbow attachment onto the Mewtwo and Mew. Does of course mean Matthew has to put that 1 damage counter onto the Mewtwo and Mew, and then just the escape board, retreat, and Turbo Strike, I guess?
Yeah, Turbo Strike with no energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so Matthew is really drawing poorly here.
Yeah, this is not where he wants to be.
And does Robin draw another Fire Energy? Oh no, drew an escape board. Okay, that's actually really
That's
good.
a great card, yeah.
Yeah. Still not really that happy with the hand he has, because you know, sure, he can dead change all that away, but he'd ideally like to, you know, actually attach to something at some point.
Yeah, and as awkward as this has been for Matthew, it's almost equally as awkward for Robin if he doesn't start to find Welder, because he has not accomplished anything in these turns.
No. Here, looks like, yeah, he will just go for the Cherish Ball, grab himself the Reshiram and Charizard GX. He can attach manually to that, at least, I guess, and then go for the Dead Change and hope to find a Welder plus some more Fire Energies off of the Dead Change.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Robin's still in a safe spot if he's able to find Welder on this turn, and he's got a lot of options to do so. He can pretty much burn everything here and then use Dedenne.
And, oh, that's interesting. He actually doesn't even opt to go for the Reshiram and Charizard, just wants to go all in on Turtonator.
Yeah, curious. We actually know Matthew's kind of in a weird spot as far as damage goes, because if he plays one more Rainbow Energy, he walks into Turtonator 5 Energy.
Oh, yeah, he does as well. That could be awkward. But
and I think I saw another Rainbow in Matt's hand. I don't know if he has access to a different energy card, but that would be terrifying
yeah,
if he just walked into that next turn.
And he will be fully aware of that as well, as we do see at least Robin does find a Welder now, so he can get 2 more energy onto the Turtonator, but that's going to make Matthew surely like hyper aware of, you know, how badly it could go for him if he ends up attaching the second Rainbow.
Right, yeah, I do faintly see that Fire Energy in his hand, so he will have another option, but it does limit potential outs if he wanted to maybe use Mewtwo's attack on some weird circumstance. I'm sure he could heal the damage off, but it's just weird to allocate all those resources to that Pokemon.
Yeah, it really is. So there is the Stellar Wish. Looks like Robin's going to fish out the Pokemon communication from that. Is there anything he actually wants to grab right now? Maybe a Vulpix?
Yeah, Vulpix would seem pretty nice right now. I don't think you're concerned about it being taken off of the board by your opponent's GX attack at any point. So
no, I don't think so either.
I mean, this is such an interesting spot. I mean, Matthew really hasn't accomplished anything. So Robin, he's like playing safe, but there's also this big risk of Naganadel snipe on Turtonator right now, so
and yeah,
good old rat pass.
God, and I mean, all it's going to take is for Matthew to find a Welder, and he can and a way to discard Naganadel GX, and he can actually get it done. Does draw an Acrobike for his turn.
Yeah, that Acrobike could be useful if it walks into a Welder. We see him debating on Giant Hearth. Knows how that'd be very important for his opponent, so not going to go for that.
Go straight for the Acrobike and okay. Well, that's an easy decision.
When your deck chooses for you.
Yeah,
that's a fun one.
Yeah, 2 Jirachi, so 1 hit the discard pile, 1 goes to the hand, and then subsequently goes to the bench. And now we might be seeing a Mallow and Lana, it looks like.
Yeah.
Could we even actually...
Gonna heal. Playing around that Turtonator, I see.
Yeah, and pretty cool little discard synergy there. Although he only healed on damage, more importantly, he got some more attackers in the discard pile, including a Latios GX, which he fished out of the prize cards.
Yeah, very cool. He's will have that available to him. If he can work his way through Turtonator, Victini would pretty much be the only attacker available to Robin. We did see him throw away that Reshiram and Charizard, so he's kind of aware of that as well on the other side of the table.
Yeah, he really is. There is a Welder we did see there. I believe that would have been from the Stellar Wish. Can't use it right now, of course, because he's already done the Mallow and Lana this turn, but he can just go for the manual attachment and then pass.
Yeah, everyone's playing nice and slow here. Doesn't have to worry about his Mewtwo being brought up into the active spot because Vulpix never hit the board. So it does have an extra turn to sit and relax.
Yeah, he does, as Robin plays another Pokemon Communication. Just opts to put the Zeb Striker into the deck. Not, still a nice consistency card, but not as important when you're not playing against something like Pidgeotto Control, for example. That's the matchup where that card is the most important.
Sure.
And he grabs himself the Heatran GX as well. Now, this could be interesting. Does he have a way to actually bring up the Mewtwo and Mew and KO it with the Hotburn GX?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's playing the solo Great Catcher that we've seen in some of these lists. Doesn't feel like Robin's style. The only one I've ever seen him run is Town Map.
Oh, he's playing a few one-ups in this list, to be fair, but one of them is not is not Great Catcher, so you are indeed right.
Fair enough.
Ninetales is the only gusting option for him, so no, there will be no Mewtwo and Mew knockout happening this turn. The welder on the two welder, well, the welder 2 fire energy onto the Heatran GX is still good though, because it means that he's mitigating his risk a little bit. All of a sudden a Naganador GX snipe onto a Turtonator doesn't look as scary. In fact, it just looks like, oh, there's now 4 more fire energy in my discard pile.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For your generous donation.
Yeah. Stellar Wish, meanwhile, finds him a whole bunch of stuff. Actually got some pretty decent options to choose from. Fiery Flint could be good. Pokemon Communication could be good. Or Cherish Ball even, yeah, just to get maybe another Reshiram and Charizard out. Although, actually, no, he's only playing 1 Reshiram and Charizard GX in his list.
Yeah, I think he's burning for Dedenne. Just wants to have that option available to him if the Jirachi were to fall, because I don't think he wants to get aggressive on this turn. We'll see what he chooses to go with as far as who remains in the active spot at the end of this turn. But it's such a weird spot. Like, you don't want to be the aggressor here, but I guess Heatran is a safe play.
Yeah, I mean, of course, this is absolutely fine as well. You can just go for the 130 damage, knock out the Jirachi, take the first prize. It means that, again, your prizes are kind of planned out a bit more. You just knock out 1 Tag Team and 1 Dedenne. And it means that also your risk is still spread out a little bit more, because all of a sudden you've got just 3 energy on the Turtonator, and that can still maybe do an attack later on.
Yep.
And with the attachment to the active as well, now if the Heatran gets KO'd, that's still 4 energy hitting this discard pile.
Yeah, looks like Robin is really thinking ahead. He's thinking about Victini Prism Star with that attachment, because he knows that this Heatran is probably not going to be in play on the following turn.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, who can blame him, right? We've seen so many times how powerful a finisher that Victini Prism is. The Infinity attack, of course, just to remind you all at home, 20 damage for 2 fire energy times the number of fire energy in your discard pile, which you then shuffle all back into your deck. So, when you're playing as many fire energy as you are in Robin's deck, you can just burn through them all and then shuffle them all back and just do a really big knockout onto like a tag team.
All right. We see Welder.
Yeah, we see Welder. Welder for 1 fire onto the Mewtwo and Mew. 3 cards drawn. And, ooh, I believe, Kyle, we have some more updates on what's going on in the rest of the top 8s.
I'm giving it a peek. I mean, it looks like some other player there. I haven't gotten the official word yet.
Okay.
But they are, it looks like they're still in progress.
Yeah. Okay, so nothing else to report on with those games just yet. Of course, we will keep you updated and let you know what's happening with the other top 8 games. I'm sure you guys all want to know who's actually made it into top 4. But in the meantime, you see we saw the Welder played onto the Mewtwo and Mew. I don't think that Matthews has any that great attackers to copy, though. And I think the judge trying to correct him by putting damage counter on. No, that was healed with Mallow and Lana.
Yeah.
That is correct. It should be fresh.
Thinking ahead.
Yep. And meanwhile, off of the Stellar Wish, looks like he takes an Acrobike.
Yep. So Matthew is at an odd amount of energies. He hasn't attached for the turn yet, I don't believe, but he has played that Welder for 1. Doesn't have another Pokemon ready to go, so maybe if he could start working on another Mewtwo, he'd feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah, maybe. Looks like Acrobike finds him a Welder and a Stealthy Hood, and yeah, I think in that case you have to discard the Stealthy Hood there. Welder's far too important.
Yeah, found another Welder and has multiple fire energy in hand.
But no way to retreat!
Yeah.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Robin's like, wait, I'm still here? Heatran, you did it!
It's like, I didn't think I'd get this far.
Yeah. Did not have Vulpix down, so again, Mewtwo's just going to hang out on the bench.
Wow, okay, so Robin must be thrown for a little bit of a loop here, because he's thinking to himself, yeah, I generally wasn't expecting this.
I'll just take another prize, I guess. Thank you.
So it worked out pretty nicely for him. Again, no gusting this turn, because there was no Vulpix put down, and as we already know, there was no great catcher option in Robin's deck either. And actually, this means that this turn ends up being not quite as bad for Matthew, because this prize is essentially irrelevant. Robin knocking this out doesn't really get him any closer to winning.
Right, it's going to be tag team most likely, or tag team to Danny, something.
Yeah, so
along those lines.
Yeah, so Matthew, you not being able to retreat here really was not the end of the world. Now, especially as we see Robin going for the KO there, finally taking 1 prize. Matthew brings up the Dedenne GX, which has a skateboard on it. Now attaches the rainbow for second rainbow from his hand, where it's not in Turtonator range as easily anymore, so that's absolutely fine. And it looks like he's just going to go for the Miraculous Duo GX.
Yeah, we hinted at it earlier. That was his best attack available to him, and he's going to go ahead and use it there.
Yeah, 200 damage, and then because he got the extra energy, he peels off the 1 damage counter on the Mewtwo and Mew.
All right, now it's over to Robin's side. We do not see Welder yet, but we do see Palpad. So Palpad should be able to shuffle a few of those back in before Jirachi tries to make his way back onto that.
Yep, so going to have a really good chance at improving his odds here. As he's got 2 Welders to put back in. That means that all 4 are going to be back in the deck now, right? So unless he prized 1, I think he might have prized 1 actually. Now that I think about it, well, we can see now anyway when we go through. There's 1 Welder. And 2, so he's got access to 3 in his deck.
All right, we do have another update. Brian is onto the top 4. He was able to defeat Victor. He was playing that Mewtwo Perfection deck. He did defeat ADP, so congratulations to Brian. He's moving on. Gustavo and Giovanni are into Game 3 now, so that will be pretty interesting to see who comes out on top there. If Gustavo can continue his reign of amazing play that he's had here in Latin America.
Yeah, so those are the current standings of the rest of the top 8 as we know it. So 1 top 4 slot locked already, 3 more still to compete, one of which is being competed for right now on stream for you guys to see at home. So there goes the Stellar Wish from Robin. Again, he just wants to make sure that he can mount the right sort of counter attack, and especially finding the Welder of the Stellar Wish. That's going to be the important step number 1.
Yeah, very big here. Does have that Stellar Wish now. Will have access to some energies because of that Giant Hearth, so 300 damage is available to him. Can take out this huge tag team Pokemon with 5 energy cards. Yeah. It's going to cost him everything he has, but I think he'll pay that cost every time.
And you've got to think his game plan here is, KO with Turtonator, finish off with Victini.
Absolutely.
Because the Victini will be able to finish off pretty much anything that Matthew puts out at this point. It's a pretty solid game plan.
Yeah, it's been working out for him, and that's why he's gotten all the way to the top 8 here. Looks like he could be 1 turn away from top 4 if this pans out.
Well, the 2 energy onto the Turtonator, 3 cards drawn. Finds another Fire Energy, that's pretty good. Finds a Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff as well. Not quite as useful here when Matthew's bench is so empty.
Both of those cards require his opponent to be playing the game, and Matthew's having a hard time playing the game right now.
That's a very eloquent way of putting it. Matthew's sort of getting ready there with the damage as it stands. So 6 energy onto the Turtonator. Explosive Jet will be able to come in and knock out the Mewtwo and Mew. I think Robin might have been debating whether it was worth putting down the Victini, but he does decide it's fine.
Yeah, he was thinking, is there any way that my opponent could knock this out, because this is pretty much the way that I finished the game here.
And thinking about it,
I don't think there's a 3 energy snipe available to him at any
point.
No,
there isn't, and there's no gusting available to Matthew that can bring up the Victini either. So yeah, I think it's absolutely correct to bench it here.
I guess the 3 energy snipe he could walk into is Espeon Deoxys, but that seems a little far-fetched.
That does seem a little bit far-fetched. You need to find his 1 remaining Rainbow Welder, 2 Fire, and
yeah. A calculated risk when your opponent has 1 giant Pokemon.
Yeah, especially because I'm not even sure if doesn't Espeon Deoxys in the prizes, and I'm not sure if it's the one he's taken yet.
Yeah, it was in the prizes to start. Not sure if he was able to grab that. We could see.
That's.
Oh, looks like it's in the discard pile now.
Okay, so he was able to get off the prizes.
We have seen the game plan.
Yeah.
The game plan from Matthew is to hit Rainbow double fire off of Welder and knock out this Victini, and hopefully run Robin completely out of energies.
God, again, this is super, super close. I mean, Robin is obviously got the more commanding board position at this point, but Matthew is absolutely not out of this yet. He does have the 1 counterplay that he can try and dig for to claw his way back into this game.
Yeah, and...
wait, no, he can't. What are we talking about? He's used his GX attack.
Obviously, yes, there it is. Yeah, that would make it pretty hard. So yeah, Robin knows, there's no way in the world this is happening.
Oh no, so all of a sudden this looks really, really bad for Matthew.
Yeah, Miraculous Duo is attacked.
Yeah, it's a GX attack.
Yeah,
it's the one actual physical attack that Mewtwo and Mew has.
Well, that does not leave many options for Matthew.
No, it looks like it's going to have to be Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff GX. How many? I mean, Robin barely has GXs on his board, right? He's got 2 Dedenne, so this will be doing 180.
Yeah, so he could be taking knockouts with this Pokemon. Surely he'd like to put the energies onto the Mewtwo and possibly have access to the attack, but I I think that this whole game plan is out the window if you don't have reset stamp. You need to put Robin down to a 1-card hand and make him miss off Jirachis over and over again.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's why he would have used the tag call to just try and thin out those extra Pokemon from the deck. So here's the Welder, a crucial Welder draw to try and find the reset stamp, which he does not.
Well, does find Great Catcher, which he could put himself to 1 prize card if he wanted.
He could.
Is that good?
It might be all he can do.
I mean, leaving the Turtonator in the active just means 1 more card for Robin in order to complete all of this. But do you want to give him an extra turn?
This is a tricky decision. We do see that without the discard out, Matthews had to just bench the Mega Lopunny and Jigglypuff just to copy the attack. And this is the one decision here. He does just decide to go for the KO, which to be honest, I think is fine. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you're going to win next turn, it's going to be Great Catcher onto Dene, so you can just hold it.
Well done for Robin!
Oh, he's going to count.
Does he have enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
That's a lot.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He's got it. He's got it. He's got the Welder. He's got the 2 Fire Energy.
That's it? Yeah, he's
15 times 20 is 300. That knocks out the Mewtwo and Mew.
He welded for 1.
And that's it. Robin retreats, attacks with Infinity, and he makes it into the top 4.
Unbelievable. Great job by Robin. Unfortunate for Matthew to draw the way that he did, but still made it pretty close. Got it down to 1 more turn, and Matthew would have actually been able to come out on top, but the cards just weren't there for him. On the other side, Robin was able to play pretty tremendously. Just threw away that Reshiram and Charizard like it was nothing. Said Turtonator and Victini are going to be plenty to get me through, and they were.
And taking that game plan when you're